there is no such thing as an independent soldier. There is no such thing as an independent person. It doesn't exist. Does not exist. Everybody, human beings are interdependent. We all depend on each other in some way, shape, or form. There's no such thing as an independent person. It's the most ridiculous thing that has ever been said in the history of the world. In independence, the definition of independence is free from outside control or authority. None of us have that. No one has that. Okay. Everybody is interdependent. The idea of, oh, I'm independent is really, it's really just, it's hubris. It's really just trying to pretend that you don't need anyone. And it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. It certainly doesn't exist for women. The last people on the planet that can call themselves independent are women. Okay. Especially Sierra. Last time I checked, even if she wasn't with Russell, doesn't she get child support from Future? That's not.
Child support is for the child.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
That has nothing to do with her and her dependence.
She's not. Okay, so a soldier, right? You're part of the military, right? Does the military house you? Okay, that's dependent. That's not independent. All right.
Military, on my job.
Does the military pay you?
Yes, for my job.
That's dependent.
Yes, on my job. Do you get what I'm saying? So I'm not saying you're dependent on a specific person. When we're talking about partners being dependent on each other, that's like when she gave the example. If you weren't getting his check, then what would you be doing?
She would be working
on the partner. This is depending on the military. The military pays your food, they pay your housing, they pay your everything.
So then you're dependent.
Oh, hold on.
Everyone is dependent on their job. So that doesn't make any sense.
Independent does not mean what you're saying. Independent is literally you don't have no one to do stuff like make money with, do stuff with. You're by yourself, independently doing things by yourself. You mentioned a situation where the guy was deployed and then let's say the lady's, home working. That's called y'all are making money together. You put it in one pot or however you decide to do it. That's not independent.
Hold on, wait.
What is independent to you, Fantasy Girl?
Hold on, wait. Lady Di. We all getting away from what she said. She said that when she's deployed, he's at home. Oh, let me start by asking this question. Fantasy Island, do y'all have children?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
We had children, and when I was deployed, he was at home. When he was deployed, I was at home. When he was on trainings, I was at home. But we spent more time independently working through things. We didn't need to take money from each other. We had the same rank. We had the same pay.
The point is that even to raise your children, y'all have to be dependent on one another because in order to do your job, one person has to be at home. So while you're doing your job and deployed, he's able to be at home and raise your kids and vice versa. That is literally y'all dependent on one another.
Yes, that is an aspect of you depending on each other for the kids' sake.
The closest thing to a person, closest thing to a person being independent is like Tom Hanks when he was on that damn island and he went crazy. Human beings cannot be separate of everything. No man is an island unto himself. That's what that quote means. Okay. If you put a human being in solitary confinement by themselves, they tend to go crazy because human beings we don't function that way. We have to have some sort of interaction with each other. And that is a level of dependence. It doesn't matter if you say, well, I'm not in a relationship with a guy, so I pay my own bills or whatever. You're still dependent on the company that you work for. And as Black Beauty said in the chat room, not everybody's dependent on their job. Okay, so you're a business owner. Now you're dependent on your clients. Now you're dependent on your customers. You're dependent on whatever industry you're in. There's still going to be a level of dependence there as a human being. There's no such thing as an independent human being.
I understand what you're saying.
So they say smart women, they say smart women don't need no man. And I see this as women who strive for academic achievement. So women are claiming their independence, claiming that they're independent from men, because men, we created the world so women can work and earn wages necessary to support their life. They got a plethora of men, and they still got a plethora of men who are, still willing to plant their seed, and they got the family courts, that's going to grant them full rights. And when they work to retirement or work to the end of their life cycle, or their ability to work, they got the Social Security to bail them out and carry the torch from there. So what part of all that did not include a man? That's my question. What part of that didn't include the blood, sweat, and tears of a man? Since segregation, or since integration, I'm sorry, the Black community has yet to be reestablished. So if any Black woman fix her mouth to claim or promote independence, it's basically embracing genocide on Black people.
Like, I can say as a man that I'm not independent. I am dependent on my subscriber base to support my platform. I am dependent on my wife for companionship and emotional companionship. Now, if we weren't together, I would probably get with another woman and I would be dependent on her. And if I decided to be single, I would be dependent on my homeboys for a connection, for companionship that's not as intimate. I'm dependent on my children to carry on my legacy, to carry on my last name. Like I'm dependent on everything around me. That's what life is. That's what life is.
Yeah.
This idea that we don't need anybody. See, this is where we went wrong in our culture, where this idea that we don't need anyone. You see this a lot amongst Black people. We act like we don't need our community. We don't need each other. And this is why our community, what's left of it, looks the way it looks. You have Black people that live in Black neighborhoods. There used to be a time where you knew everybody in the neighborhood. Now you live there and you barely speak to your neighbor. You feel me?
And even with the military deployment thing, I just thought about this. Like you were saying, you're going to depend on other people. So when your spouse does deploy, you do have the unit there helping you.
Yeah.
When your spouse isn't there to help you out. So I guess when I was thinking independent, it's like, okay, there's only one parent here at a time. Who's going to do it? It's going to be you. But that's not saying that you're doing it with no help at all. That's not realistic.